Hey everyone, welcome back to the Language of series. My name is Amy Lancy. I am the owner and founder of Untold Story Enterprises. I am a communication strategist and I love helping business owners speak their audience's language. The reason why I have this series is because I know that language is not just dictated by country and by ethnicity or nationality. It's dictated by experience and expertise and community and industry. And I think that the more we can see the languages that exist around us, the more bridges we can cross and bridge that gap and then be more on the same page with each other. So as you can tell, I love having my friends on with me for my YouTube channel because my friends are absolutely fabulous. And I have my dear friend Latanya DuBois here of Eagle Eye Management. We are going to talk about the language of business operations. And there's a very clear reason why I wanted to talk about this because I feel like when business owners are at the very beginning of their business life, they don't talk about operations. They don't think about operations until they get to a certain point. And so my point of this interview is to one, talk about why Latanya is awesome, and two, talk about why operations is important, and three, just start to get your gears turning in that direction because it's really super important if you're a business owner, even if you're at the very beginning stages, and even if you're not at the very beginning stages, it's super important to know this. So, Latanya, I've blabbered on enough. Please tell the people who you are.
Thank you so much, Amy. You know, I love spending time with you. So my name is Latanya DuBois, as you heard. I'm the owner and founder of EY Management, which is a consulting, coaching, and training firm that helps save businesses. It's basically for the individual who is overwhelmed in their business and they're ready to give up, or they just feel like they don't know what to do next, or just have started and feel confused about what order should everything go in, which speaks to our specialty, operations management, right? So just as you said, Amy, it's the thing that people think about at the end, which should
Yeah.
really be in the beginning because it's all about action. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's basically what we do day in and day out is teach people, coach people, and consult people around operations management.
Absolutely. So, Latanya, as we were talking about before I pushed record, operations is something that not only do people not talk about, it's not sexy for whatever reason. Sales and marketing, that is something that people will just go to whole conventions and conferences. Ooh, I don't have to remember my drink. Whole conventions and conferences to go learn more about sales and marketing because obviously that has to do with cash flow and revenue. But operations has to do with revenue and cash flow. It's just that it's behind the scenes, and I don't know if I should say indirect. Maybe that might not even be the right word for it, but it just seems like, you know, people don't understand how operations is just as important as sales and marketing. And I just would love to get your opinion about, when you've gone out to the marketplace, to the people, and you talk about operations, like what is generally their outlook on the concept?
People don't know what it is. They don't even know it exists. that's that's the issue, right? Because
Yes.
here's the thing: sales and marketing is always going to be sexy because it's tied to the bottom line
Yes.
in the moment. So the
Mm-hmm.
difference between operations and sales and marketing in terms of being sexy, right, is that
Mm-hmm.
sales and marketing shows you the money. You remember that in that movie, Show Me the Money.
Yes.
but,
Jerry
but
Maguire. Yes.
right. But operation management sustains the money.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
can make a lot of money, but if I don't know what I'm doing with it, how I'm doing it, where is that, how it comes in, how it goes out, then I may not ever get to a place of calm. And most people who
Yes.
don't look at their operations do not get to the place of calm because you don't know what you're planning to do. You don't know how you're going to get there. You don't know what tools and resources you need. You don't know when they should be implemented. You may be overusing or underutilizing something. And all of that is operations. It helps you to not just plan, but implement a solid long-term vision for your company.
Yes. Yes. I love all this. And so I think that now that we talked about how operations help to sustain the money, I think that, giving the audience a quick breakdown of what sales and marketing is, just to reiterate what it is, and then comparing that to operations. So I'm gonna talk about what sales and marketing is in language that is used today, and then I'm gonna give it to you to talk about, what operation is in the picture that I'm gonna be painting. Um, so when it comes to marketing is anything you do to let people know that you exist, like whether that's on social media or you send an email out, you go networking. That's basically marketing. You say, hey, I'm here. Sales is essentially, when you close a sale and money is transferred. So, like a sales page, and you click on the button to check out, that's a sale. When you go to an event and they hook you in for 3 days, and then at the end they give that giant pitch, and then you go to the sales team afterwards and said, please run my credit card, that is sales. So, Latanya, if you can just kind of interject here to talk about how does operations fit in with what I just described with marketing and sales? Because I can see how some people can think about, well, it's the chicken or the egg, and which one comes first, and operation doesn't bring me the money, and I shouldn't focus on that for a long time. So I think if you could just clarify, what are we talking about with operations, and how does it fit with the idea of sales and marketing today?
Awesome. Thanks, Amy. That was a great description of sales and marketing. Very simple. And operations can be just as simple. What it boils down to is all the things that you do to get that sales pitch page up, all the
Mhm.
things that you do to decide how much money you need to really have a profit from your business. And a lot of times we think we're doing that, right? Okay, you buy the YouTube page or you buy the website and you put yourself on a website and you make money, right? People are
Mhm.
buying. But then you wonder why every time you look at your bank account, it doesn't match with what you're saying you're making every month. And we don't
Right.
have a good understanding of why that is. If I'm making this much money, how come I cannot produce that in my bank account? Why does it
Mhm.
match?
Yeah.
So what operations helps you do in that sense is go back to look at what exactly is working and what's not working. What are the processes that we're using that's exhausting our resources or using them up, wasting our resources versus what is good and working for our benefit. So it helps you track your progress because you're looking at all the procedures and policies and anything that you're putting in place so that that sales marketing opportunity actually feeds the company, not just an activity that people pay, but it feeds the company and you're not working
Yeah.
as poor. And that's the biggest part because a lot of us make a lot of money but don't make strategic decisions, which is operations, right? We don't make strategic decisions, so our money just flies out the window. So I could be paying $200 for my hosting company every month,
Mhm.
but I could get the same exact service for $59.99 at another company with the same quality, probably less clicks, which will probably convert my people faster because there's less clicks to get to the sales page. That's operations.
Ah.
Understanding that. Understanding how many clicks does it take to get somebody to say yes? How many websites do they have to go through just to see what my services are?
Mhm.
That all is part of the strategy behind it.
That is so cool how you just kind of interjected here and related it to clicks and efficiency in the automation space. Because here's another thing, Latonya, I just realized that the word automation, I associate that, and I think I'm not the only one here. I associate that with sales and marketing, but automation, it very much has to do with operations. And the thing is, it's interesting. I think about automation in terms of, okay, if I'm thinking of a conveyor belt, an assembly line, yeah, okay, that's of course operations, because every one of us is there's quality control, quality assurance happening as things are getting done and packaged and ready to go. Um, but if I'm thinking about automation, that's right. That is operations, because it's moving something along for me, so that way the product is delivered.
Right.
Yes.
And
Um,
to the degree that you wanted to.
Yes.
Because if you don't know, so that's like, I love my concept around the GPS of me, right? So we know
Yes.
where we're heading when we're dreaming, right? But it's the
Mhm.
same thing in your business. If you don't really know what you want out of your business outside of money, then you can exhaust yourself just making money and never really being in business.
Right.
So we could just make a lot of money, but
Mhm.
for how long without good strategy, for how long without understanding what's happening in your business?
And when when you meet people who are in that space of, they don't know what to do, what they really want outside of making money in their business, like how is there things that they say, is there any behavior that you notice that they exhibit that you can recognize them from across the room or just talking to them?
Yeah, um, absolutely. You can always tell. So my foundation is around how people behave.
Yeah.
So there's the people that tell you what they want you to hear, and
Hmm.
there's the people that show you who they really are,
Yeah.
right? And in operations, if you can't show me specific things that I ask you for, then you're not operating well.
Hmm.
That's how I know. I
Hmm.
can ask you two to three different questions to get a sense of, and that's the other part of what makes my company a little bit more different, in my opinion, is that I don't really care a lot about just your business and how it operates. I want to know how you operate, because a lot of us build our businesses on what we think or what people tell us is the business model we should follow, or the thing we should be doing, or the pull this funnel and do all these things, but that might not be how I operate, which can leave me to be stagnant for a long time in business growth, because I'm thinking I have to do it that way. So
Yes.
what EY does in this coaching pieces is help you to identify how you operate so that you can match yourself with the appropriate processes or designed programs. There's a billion different funnel programs, a billion different automations and email, websites, and all these kind of things, but they are speaking to specific populations. So you got to spend that time saying, I don't like this because it makes you do too many of those, or I don't like that because it makes me have to stop this and now I can't speak to my client. I really like to talk to my client. So you get to understand all of those things in our programs, how I operate and how I want my business to operate. And then you marry them together to create a process and a system that you can
Mhm.
put into practice with ease. Because
See,
now
what I
you
really
understand.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was gonna say, what I really love about what you do is that, it's very easy to get all logical with operations, but because of your background and expertise in behavior, like seeing people's behavior and understanding that, you combine that beautifully with the logical side of operations. And I love
Yeah.
that, it's not just about the business, it's about the person too. um and so not only does the person, I can see how the person becomes more aligned with their business and their dream, and also with operations, sales and marketing is about making the money, but the operations is about saving money and not paying for things that you really don't need.
Right. And you can put it in places that you love.
Yeah.
You can do so much more creativity and so much of who you are. And then that's talking into marketing, that helps you brand yourself properly, because you can
Hmm.
do more of what really is you and allow your customers to experience the fullness of who you are, no matter how they're touched along the journey of your business, whether it's at the beginning, whether they happen to hear about you through someone else. They'll have a certain emotion attached to that because of what you've been able to create.
Yes. Hmm. Absolutely, because when people meet you as a business owner to business owner, or as a business owner to consumer, they're gonna look at you and they're gonna, even the most logical of people, they're gonna go by their gut first, the
Yes.
impression they get from you. And if they see that you're really confused or they feel something's off, even if you don't realize something's off, if they sense something's off, they're probably going to be a little wary of you at least, or maybe not communicate with you later on. So you're right, absolutely, Latanya. But like what you're really putting into perspective here is that what you do is, yes, operations helps to deliver the service and the product, and also, helps with filling in the gaps with sales and marketing. But with what you also do, and I think that you expressed that this is specifically for Eagle Eye Management, that you help the business owner show up better for
Yes.
sales and marketing with what you do with their operations. To get
Yes,
that.
I help them to get that whole picture. We have so many different teachings that we have. One of them is called a piece of the pie, but we mean piece of the pie, right? So, how do you get to the place where you understand your business so well that you can literally have some peace? So
Mhm.
many of us are like scrambling and doing 100 different things, and it's not always the best way to operate because it may
Mhm.
just be you operating in chaos. And if that is what you're used to doing, it may be
Mhm.
okay to operate that way in for a time period. But there's going to come
Yeah.
a time in your business where you'll have to hone in some of those skills that you needed to develop before you
Yeah.
hire people or expand your business. You're going to have a period of evolution that'll help you, sustain one, but also scale your business. Some of us are not ready to scale our business because of the way we operate personally,
Mhm.
because we might be flighty or we might be easily overwhelmed or we don't trust people or we don't have good connections to what's happening in our business and we feel inadequate or we just don't believe in ourselves. I know a lot of my clients, a good portion of my clients have had some experience with trauma. So being a trauma specialist, I'm able to also build that in as well because it really does depict how far out you're willing to step out on that limb sometimes. And my
Mhm.
craft allows me to help you move through that process as well. Like, yes, it's scary, but guess what? We're going to do it together and you're going to be fine. Because not only have I've supported so many people in doing it, I have done it myself. I've stepped out on a limb as a trauma survivor, and I have been able to identify what doesn't work for me and what does. And I feel much better, much more peaceful about some of the decisions that I would have normally been afraid to make. I can go faster, I can say
Mhm.
yes. Even when I'm scared, I can still say yes and move forward because I'm trusting something bigger in me that probably wouldn't have been there had I not did my work.
Yes. So basically, what I'm getting from you is that the work that you've done on yourself and the work that you do with your clients allow them to still feel the emotions, but not get paralyzed by them.
Exactly. Perfect, Amy. You see, you're such the wordsmith. I love what would you do?
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes. Love it.
Jinx. um. So, but I think with the I think I mean you hit on a great point here, Latanya. Is that when it comes, I mean we've all had trauma of some kind, unfortunately to some extent, and you and I have talked privately about how sometimes we'll go to these business events and whoever's running the event will trigger people on purpose. And then, but thing is, when you are at an event that big, whoever does the triggering, just kind of doesn't help with breaking through the trigger. It just I trigger, and then now you gotta go figure it out,
Right.
or come join me in my community. And so I know that we've talked about how discouraging that can be. So like as motivating as some of these events are, to not be able to go through the trigger and be able to get through it and not get paralyzed by it. I think that's I think that's a disservice to people. And also I think that that's why what you do is so important, because you probably hit on some points that do trigger people, not like you're doing it on purpose, but it just happens, right? And business triggers us in different ways without anyone around.
Yes.
But you're there understanding what trauma looks like and what needs to happen to get through that instance of trauma. So I definitely think what you do is amazing.
Thank you.
Because I don't see too many. Because like I said, when you hear business operations, you think it's all logical, but here you're coming in saying, "Well, we got the logical, but we're gonna address the emotional part." And I'm sure some people are thrown off by that. Like, what? We're gonna work on the emotional part. I just need to work on the logical here, the
Yeah.
operations. And you're like, but doesn't matter if you're feeling emotionally off. and mentally off about this. So yeah, I
Show
think
you
it's
2 points about that, what you just said.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you think about this before COVID, right? Before
yeah,
COVID, this was the stats.
yeah,
20% of small businesses fail by the first year.
yeah.
30% by the second year,
Hmm.
50% by the fifth year, and by
Hmm.
the 10th year, a staggering 70% of businesses have shut off their lights. And this was reported in February, on February 3rd, 2021, by CNBC.
Yeah.
And what was hard, this is what broke my heart about it, right? This is what frustrated me the most, is because most of it is because of how we felt. It may
Wow.
not be that your business was really not doing well. In logic mind, if I sat with you and looked at where the holes are in your processes, you will
Mhm.
see what you can do to mend it. But a lot of us don't do it, right? And to
Yeah.
your point about going to events and being triggered and things like that, there is a wealth of these workshops and self-help books and books for dummies and all these things that you can look at, but that's all planning. That's all heady.
Yeah.
Operations puts it into action. Operations makes it practical. Operations make it real. It
Yeah.
helps you test it and see it. And failure is one of the number one things business owners don't like to experience. But
Yeah.
failure is lessons learned. It is the trial and tribulations you have to experience to find the perfect match for where you want to head. And most of my clients that come to me feels like I felt, where I have all these books, I went through all these things, and I'm like, yes, when I'm in those moments,
Yeah.
in those events, I can do anything. I feel invincible. I can understand it
Yes.
all. But when
Hmm.
I'm away and back in my office and I'm looking at these books and these pamphlets and these handouts and all these things they gave me, or after my coaching session, I'm sitting here going, what did they say go first? How was I supposed to do that? Was it that website? How did you can't do A through Z? It's like somebody took 1,000-piece puzzle and dropped it in front of you and said, "Now put it back together," and it broke all apart around the room, and you were on this scavenger hunt, right? So what I like to point out to people, so my first point was about the statistics and how staggering they are despite all of these efforts, right? This is the US is having these kind of impacts despite all of this supposed education on you can win big, you could be, that's a small population that functions from that. My
Yeah.
second point is around the emotional part that you brought up. If I am already in my space emotionally, mentally about who I am and how I function as a CEO and
Mhm.
owning that space, and you try to feed me information, my brain is closed. I can't process that. And
Mhm.
that's why I had to infuse the operations of you into my coaching, because I have to understand when you stop listening to me. I could build out a program all day. I can evaluate a program all day. But if
Mhm.
I'm talking to you, Amy, and you're looking at me and you're going, okay, no problem. And I see you writing like, very vigorously, but I'm not paying attention to the fact that you clearly don't know what the heck I'm talking about. And
Mhm.
I'm not pausing to come back to where you got stuck at, then
Mhm.
I'm doing you a disservice, and you just paid me all this money to help you build out something that you have no idea how you're going to put into practice.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
where the pause in Eagle Eye comes in, is we are very intuitive and pay attention to
Mhm.
where our clients get stuck, or we call them family, but where we get stuck and
Yes.
say, all right, I just lost you. Or when they start hyperventilating because the possibility is so close. Like, have you ever got so excited about something you're dreaming about that you get like almost crazed in a way, like, oh my God, that can't really be true. Can it happen? Can that happen? And that
Yes.
feeling can block you too. Even that joy can block you too. Like, you kind of sort of almost don't believe that you could ever live that happy. So you can't hear,
Yes.
so we pause in those moments and we learn how to celebrate those moments in a different way so that we can come back to the table in a healthy mindset and then move forward. And that's just as important as breaking down all those processes.
Yes. Yes. I love how you brought up the statistics of how many businesses have closed, and related it to, it's based on how they felt, and then how you on, from a business owner company level, you're helping to address that very issue, with everyone that comes into your world. I definitely see how this is all connected, and I could see how businesses don't necessarily have to be they don't necessarily have to have already a team of 3 to 10 people already. They may already, I can see how someone would need you even if they are a team of one. You know,
Yes.
if they're at the point of I can't take on any more work, or I'm burned out constantly, I don't know where I'm going, uh, something is off, I don't this is affecting my business and I don't know what to do. I can see how people can say, Latanya, I think I need you. I
Mhm.
need you, and I don't know what to do. And I think that's I think what this talk has really been about is not only do we need to talk about operations, but we need to talk about mental health, and
Yes.
we also need people to reach out to you, you know, if they are in this state, and be willing to ask for help. So, um, I think I would love to talk to you for another 20 minutes, but I'm gonna but instead I'm gonna have you tell everyone how they can get in touch with you, and anything that you're doing that, it's like, hey, you know, this is what Latanya's up to.
Okay. So I mostly use my Facebook page, Latanya DuBois, or Eagle Eye Management to announce what I'm up to lately. And I also have a Calendly link, which I'm providing to you for you to share with your listeners, for them to make time to connect with me. And a lot like what I told you about other topics we've had, it's about connection for me. So it's really to see if I'm the right person for you, and how can I be of support to get you to the right place. And then after that point, we can decide what you want to do. So that is the best way to make contact with me. You can also check out my website. My website has a link on there for you to contact me as well. My website is www.eagleeyemanagementllc.com.
Awesome, and I'll put the link to your Calendly, yeah, and your Calendly and your website in the description for this video, so that way you can just look down below and it's right there. So thank you so much, my friend, for being here. I think people are going to get a lot out of this, and they're going to feel your passion. And yeah, I just can't wait to upload this thing. Uh, and yay! And thank you everyone for tuning in. Please come back for more of the Language of series. So bye now.
Bye.